Hi everyone, I'm Shiv Prasad. I'm studying Masters in Data Science from Liverpool John Moores University. I'm glad to present my dissertation today. The topic of my dissertation is using machine learning to diagnose the patients affected by Parkinson's disease. So let's start with the introduction. So, Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurodegenerative disorder that affects senior people all around the world, particularly in North America and Europe. Patients diagnosed with Parkinson's disease have a vast range of clinical characteristics. They can be classified as motor and non-motor symptoms. Movement disorders, including stiffness, resting tremor, and some of the motor symptoms. And coming to non-motor symptoms, some of them are hallucinations, cognitive impairment, and impulse control disorders. It's predicted that number of It is predicted that number of patients affected by Parkinson's would double by 2050, especially from the regions of North America and Europe. The precise cause for Parkinson's is still unknown, but various studies showing that genetic and environmental factors have influence over Parkinson's disease. Since there is no permanent cure for Parkinson's, it is crucial to diagnose Parkinson's as early as possible. So now machine learning comes into the picture to predict Parkinson's in a cost-effective and a relatively less time-consuming manner. So coming to the aim and objective, the primary aim of the study is to provide aid to healthcare workers like doctors in diagnosing and distinguishing normal people from people who are affected with Parkinson's. So with the help of machine learning techniques. So in order to do that, we need to look for missing and duplicate values initially. Fortunately, for the data that we are working on, there are no missing or duplicate values. And then to understand and estimate the model performance in terms of sensitivity, which tells us ratio of Parkinson's patients and correctly predicted or not, which is very important because the scenario, I mean, the machine learning model should predict a Parkinson's patient as the one diagnosed by Parkinson's. If it is not, didn't predict that one, it would be a huge problem because the patient will not get enough care and treatment accordingly. So that's why sensitivity takes a major role in what do you say evaluating the model performance. So then so next comes specificity, which tells us tells us the ratio of healthy people predicted correctly as healthy. So coming to literature review, I choose tabular data because prediction. I've used tabular data for prediction because it doesn't need more resources. It's not computationally heavy. It does not need so much of time to train and to be evaluated. So because the Parkinson's disease should be what is it discovered as early as possible on the patient. So I took tabular data because it is computationally less intensive, so it can be used anywhere, and it is less time consuming, which is a crucial part. So now coming to the methodology, we collected the data from UCF machine learning data repository, and then we processed the data, which includes which includes a process such as checking for missing values, duplicate entries, data types of columns. For the current study, it is all numerical data for the most part. Hence, no need of any label encoding is necessary. Checking the data distribution of numerical columns comes into picture after that. So for that we use box plots, and then I chose min-max scaling to bring all numerical columns to one range, which is from 0 to 1 without affecting the data distribution. And then data set is split into train and test data set. Train data set is used for model building, and it is evaluated on how well it is performing against test data set using various metrics such as sensitivity, specificity, FL score, accuracy, etc. So coming to EDA, as you can see, our target column is status, which has two values, only two values. 0 indicates healthy, and one indicates the patients, the entries which are diagnosed as Parkinson, as affected by Parkinson's. So coming to this one, as you can see in the percentage, the number of entries which shows healthy people, which represents healthy people, is only 25%. Round, if you take it as a round number, so that's very low. It's like 1/4 of the whole data set that we have. So that means that it is class, the data set is class imbalanced, which might lead to a problems, which will lead to some issues like the data, the model being skewed towards Parkinson's disease, and not it won't be much effective on what is it, predicting healthy people as healthy. So, and here the target variable, which is status. So, in order to curb this issue, that class imbalance issue, we use ADASYN, adaptive synthetic method. So we'll come into we'll talk about that in a bit of time. So now let's move to univariate analysis. So we can see that almost 19 columns are having outliers, and we can also observe that the range of these columns is different from each other. So to overcome this, we use min-max scalar, which brings all numerical columns to a range whose minimum is 0 and the maximum is 1. With this, the plus point of this is it won't affect the outliers and the places, and it won't affect the distribution of the columns, which is very important because we should not be mangling with the data, which will make the model not applicable in the real world. So for this, we use min-max scaling. So the use what the why we are using min-max scaling is so that it would be easier on the model or model building part, so that everything is in a same range, that is from 0 to 1. So coming to bivariate analysis, now as you can see, there is we plotted a correlation matrix, and there are many columns which are highly correlated. Now you can see that there are 5 columns each were positively correlated and negatively correlated, which the correlation values are very high. But we won't be deleting these from the model building scenario, because as for the experience, multicollinearity doesn't affect the prediction of the model. So there is no downside to this. So we'll let the columns stay while model building. But the issue would be for interpretability of the model. For that, we'll create one more logistic regression model, uh, and there we will remove all the columns which are high in multicollinearity. So for prediction, we'll leave every column as it is, because it won't, multicollinearity will not affect the prediction of the model or the performance of the model. Yeah. So coming to adaptive synthetic sampling method. So as I have discussed above, so an adaptive synthetic sampling, this is used to overcome the imbalanced data issue we discussed previously. Now it can be done. There are two different ways to curb imbalanced data. One is undersampling the majority class, and two is oversampling the minority class. But we'll not be undersampling the majority class because we don't have much of data to begin with. So it would be a data loss issue, and that's not ideal. So we'll move forward with oversampling the minority class. So ADASYN or adaptive synthetic sampling method, we can explain it as an algorithm which tackles class imbalance by generating synthetic data using k-nearest or neighbors of each minority example. The minority class here is 0. So the advantage of using ADASYN, why we are picking ADASYN over others, is that it's just not copy and paste a minority data multiple times. It would just generate more data for complex parts of the data, which takes much more time for data for the machine learning algorithm to pick up. So it's like giving more data about complex parts so that it would be easy for machine learning model to learn and replicate, and which in turn helps in prediction, the reliability of prediction given by that particular machine learning algorithm. Yeah. So now coming to evaluation metrics, we will evaluate machine learning models based on these four, primarily sensitivity, as we have discussed. It gives out sensitivity describes the ratio, gives out a ratio like saying describing how much Parkinson's disease affected patients are correctly predicted as Parkinson's disease affected patients. So now that's given for the major priority or primary priority, and the second comes specificity, which gives out a ratio telling us how much how many healthy patients are correctly predicted as healthy people. And coming to F1 score, F1 score is a fraction between product of the precision and recall to the summation of recall and precision of classification parameter. The higher the value, the better it is. So coming to accuracy, accuracy is nothing but it gives out a ratio which simply explains how well the model is doing. It doesn't take into account how well the doing in the sense like it would see how many predictions are done correctly, how many predictions are correct. It doesn't care whether the predictions are more correct in one class or not. It would take out an average of everything, every class, so that it is not an ideal thing to see by while using classification models. That would be because of that we are giving it a less value in the valuation matrix, lesser priority while evaluating the models. So coming to the data now, as you can see, this table describes the model for different various machine learning algorithms model performance on test data set. The model is built on imbalanced data, so obviously the sensitivity is high. It's almost equal because it is primary, it's skewed towards Parkinson's, the one value, because there are more entries for one, which is Parkinson's disease. As you can see in the specificity, which indicates number of predictions that are done correctly, number of health predictions towards healthy patients that are predicted correctly as healthy patients. You can see it has a very drastic down. So in order to counteract this, we used ADASIN. So now as you can see, XGBoost, the algorithm XGBoost gave us very good results actually. So now as you can see in the sensitivity, it gave 0.98, which means in simpler words, 98% of the time the model predicts Parkinson's affected patient as Parkinson's affected patient. The prediction would be correct 98% of the time when it comes to Parkinson's affected patients. So now coming to specificity, as you can see, there is a considerable jump between unbalanced data and ADASIN, which is class balanced data. Now here you can see the specificity value is 0.87, which in simpler words mean 87% of the time the model predicts healthy people as healthy people correctly. So now, as you can see, the accuracy is also good, and F1 score is also considerably great when compared to other machine learning algorithms over here. So we will take XGBoost forward as the one we will be using while predicting. Now, coming to relative features importance. Now, as you can see, these charts gives us a clear understanding on how different variables, independent variables, are affecting the target variable, which is status. As you can see, PPE, T2, Shimmer, APQ5, and DFA are positively influencing the target variable, which is status. Uh, Higher the value, higher the influence on the target variable. So here you can see it is positively affecting, which means higher the value of PPE, higher the probability of a person having having Parkinson's disease. So now coming to MDVP FLO and MDVP FHI, these affect negatively on the target variable, which is status. So in simpler words, we can say that when MDVP FLO or MDVP VHI values increase, the probability of a person having a Parkinson's disease decreases. So now we can see the top 6 variables which are affecting highly on the target variable, have more influence on the target variable. Yeah, coming to the conclusion and future recommendations. See now the data that we use doesn't have any missing values or duplicated entries. So it is now, so we need not impute or delete or anything like that. So that's a fortunate thing. And coming to the data, to the data types, most of the data is numerical data. So we need not use label encoding like one hot label encoding or different types of label encoding for the machine learning model, which is a good thing, and it is easy for data processing and model building. So we use min-max scaling to bring every numerical columns range in 0 to 1. So which without affecting the distribution of the data, like which are without affecting the importance of the outliers that they are there. So the outliers will be there, but the range will be less. So the range would come to 0 to 1. So the data would stay identical to the previous before the data that we have previously, but the values does change. But the relative distance between values does stay the same. So because of that, we use min-max scaling, and to in order to curb data for class imbalance, we are using ADASIN as we have discussed previously. So now coming to this, we used various classification machine learning algorithms like logistic regression, decision trees, random forest, XGBoost, LightGBM, K nearest neighbors, and SVM support vector emissions in linear kernel. So now finally, XGBoost algorithm on ADASIN class balanced data gave us the highest sensitivity 0.98 and highest specificity 0.87 when compared to other machine learning models built on class balanced data, which helps in predicting Parkinson's disease effectively. So now coming to the future recommendations, the primary focus of future work should be on improving the performance of classification algorithms and also in using various other approaches from feature selection methods in order to bring out improved results. Such as we can improve sensitivity from 0.98 to 1, and specificity also there is a considerable bandwidth for specificity to improve as well. So now coming to the future work, as the computational heaviness of the deep learning models decrease, as a processor gets much more powerful, the time to taken by deep learning models can be decreased considerably. So the future work we can focus, the future work can focus on improving the efficiency of the model building in terms of cost, cost effectiveness, that time the model takes to build, and also for the time, so that it would be very instantaneous, the prediction would be instantaneous and reliable at the same time. So that's it. Thank you for having me.